podcast where truth moves faster than a Holstein calf. No waiting on some pretty page. We're charting new ground in the digital age. From genomic codes to row-out facts, we cut through the noise, no holding back. Not your daddy's dairy news tonight. We're sparking debates with every insight. The ring's not where the real fight's at. It's in the data, in the channel chat. From pasture to processor to your morning cup, we're raising the stakes. Try and get ahead of herd. Yeah! Where the future's more than just a word. Ahead of herd. Come on! The bullvine's calling, let your voice be heard.
Welcome to the Bullvine Podcast, where we cut through the industry noise to deliver the hard truths dairy farmers need to hear. I'm your host, bringing you insights that challenge conventional wisdom and drive real results in your operation. Today we're diving deep into something that's hiding in plain sight on every calf starter tag across North America, and it could be costing you thousands. We're talking about molasses quality, and specifically, why that simple word molasses on your feed tag might be the hidden variable sabotaging your replacement herd's potential. You'll hear research showing that sugar content variations of over 25 percentage points are completely normal in uncontrolled molasses sourcing. We'll explore why operations using quality-controlled molasses are seeing 18% fewer scours cases and 6% higher weaning weights. And we'll reveal the uncomfortable truth about why most feed companies don't want you asking detailed questions about their molasses specifications. If you've ever wondered why your calves perform differently on supposedly identical starters, or if you're ready to demand better transparency from your feed suppliers, this episode is essential listening. Let's get started.
Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we're tackling a topic in dairy operations that might seem simple on the surface, but holds surprising depth, real impact for every calf on your farm.
Yeah, it's one of those things often hidden in plain sight.
Exactly. We're zooming in on calf starter feed, specifically an ingredient often taken for granted, molasses.
Molasses, just the sweet stuff, right?
Well, that's the common thought. You see that word on a feed tag, and for many, it is just a sweet additive. But prepare to look a little closer today.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
Our mission today is to unpack a critical piece of information found in a really powerful Bullvine article titled Calf Starter Success, Beyond the Molasses Tag.
Right.
We're going to uncover why that single, unassuming word on a feed tag could actually be a silent saboteur, or maybe a powerful propeller for your calves' health and growth.
Saboteur or propeller, that's quite the contrast.
It is. There are truly unexpected costs and performance differences tied to this one ingredient. It's far more than just a simple sweetener. Okay, let's unpack this.
What's fascinating as we, really uncover in our deep dive into the source material for this discussion is how often producers focus, and rightly so, on the big ticket items.
Like protein, energy.
Exactly. Crude protein, energy, fiber content in their feeds. But they can inadvertently overlook the seemingly nuanced details of ingredients such as molasses. Yet, what the Bullvine article makes abundantly clear is that it's precisely in these subtle, often ignored details where significant gains or profound losses can occur for your herds.
Okay.
The core problem, as our research highlights, is the pervasive lack of transparency and consistent standardization around what the industry broadly terms generic molasses.
This is molasses.
Just molasses. This vagueness, this lack of specific definition has wide-ranging and critical implications for calf development, right from those crucial nascent stages of rumen formation.
So right from the start.
Right from the start. Our deep dive today will reveal how absolutely crucial ingredient consistency is, linking it directly to optimal rumen development and ultimately to the long-term future success, health, and profitability of your entire herd.
Right.
It's not just about current performance, it's truly about building a robust, resilient foundation for tomorrow's dairy stars. What's fascinating here is how deep this goes.
That's a fascinating reframe right from the start. Because for so long, the common perception, and perhaps, dare I say, the convenient narrative from some feed reps, has been that molasses is merely a palatability enhancer.
Make it taste good, get them eaten.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's just there to make the feed taste good, encourage intake, and that's it. But the bovine article really challenges that, doesn't it? Asserting that molasses isn't just there to make feed taste good.
No.
It's described instead as a sophisticated nutritional tool.
Sophisticated. I like that.
It immediately creates a paradox, though. If it's so sophisticated, so vital, how can it, if used improperly or inconsistently, become what our source material terms a nutritional wildcard?
Right. How can it be both?
It feels like we've been sold a far too simplified story. Yeah. Overlooking a critical component. What's the real science behind this? What's actually happening?
Indeed. And the science behind the proper utilization of molasses and calf starter is quite compelling. It shows exactly how properly formulated molasses profoundly impacts rumen development.
Okay.
It's not just about taste, it's about the intricate biochemical processes that unfold in that developing gut.
Right.
The core mechanism is rooted in the readily fermentable sugars that quality molasses provides.
Readily fermentable. What does that mean exactly?
Well, when we talk about readily fermentable, we mean simple sugars like glucose and fructose that are quickly available for the rumen microbes. They don't need much breakdown.
Okay, easy energy.
Easy energy, exactly. These sugars are absolutely key because they kickstart microbial proliferation within the rumen as it's developing.
So feeding the good bugs.
Precisely. Think of it this way. A calf's rumen is like a blank slate, right? A new ecosystem waiting to flourish. These initial consistent sugars from quality molasses provide the perfect starter food, the ideal energy source for the specific beneficial bacteria crucial for establishing an efficient digestive system.
So consistency is key even here.
Absolutely. Without this proper, consistent foundation, the entire microbial ecosystem struggles to establish itself effectively. You end up with a less robust rumen environment from day one.
Okay. And that leads to...
Well, this vigorous and appropriate microbial activity is what drives a critical shift towards increased butyric acid production.
Butyric acid. Okay, that name rings a bell.
It should. And why is butyric acid so important in this context? It's uniquely recognized as the primary fuel source for developing rumen papillae.
Papillae. Those are the finger-like things inside the rumen.
Exactly. Imagine countless tiny finger-like projections or villi lining the inside of the rumen. They are absolutely essential because they vastly increase the surface area.
Like in our own intestines.
Very similar principle. More surface area means more absorption. Butyric acid directly nourishes these papillae, promoting their healthy growth and maturation.
Oh, okay.
So well-developed papillae directly translate to better volatile fatty acids, VFA, absorption. Those are the main energy source derived from fermentation.
Right, the VFAs.
Which leads to more efficient energy utilization and ultimately to stronger calves that transition more smoothly from milk to solid feed, gain weight more robustly, and show better overall health.
So it all connects.
It all connects. If we connect this to the bigger picture, optimizing this process in the rumen is literally about building the calf's future digestive engine for a lifetime of productivity.
That makes perfect sense. It's not just about getting feed into the calf, but about getting the right kind of fuel into the right system to build that digestive engine efficiently. It's construction work.
It really is foundational construction.
So if it's so sophisticated, so vital for rumen development, how can it also be a nutritional wild card, as the bovine article describes it? Is there a point where good turns bad? Too much of a good thing?
Precisely. And here's the hidden catch, the paradox you mentioned. It's a crucial one for producers to understand. Our research in the bovine article points out that too much molasses or molasses of the wrong character actually suppresses intake.
Suppresses intake. But I thought it was for palatability.
Exactly. This flies directly in the face of the long-standing "it's just for taste, so more is better" argument. It's not that simple.
Okay. Is there data on this?
There is. The article cites specific research findings demonstrating this delicate balance. Studies have shown how increasing molasses inclusion in calf starter from a modest 5% up to 12% significantly decreases starter consumption and subsequent weight gain.
Wow, decreases from 5 to 12%. That's a common range, isn't it?
It can be, especially if not carefully controlled. And this isn't just a minor dip, it's a statistically significant reduction in a calf's ability to transition effectively onto solid feed.
Okay, that's critical.
And this is where the critique of vague claims, often heard from some feed representatives, becomes incredibly relevant.
Right.
When they speak broadly about improved palatability without getting into the critical specifics of precise inclusion rates or, more importantly, concrete molasses quality parameters.
Or like sugar content, density.
Exactly. Things like sugar content or density. They are, as the article states, only telling half the story.
cherry-picking the good part.
Pretty much. They're highlighting a potential benefit, the initial appeal, without acknowledging the significant risks of improper use, or, more commonly, inconsistent sourcing and undefined quality.
And that oversight has consequences.
Serious, observable consequences for your calves. Stunted growth, digestive upsets, you name it. This highlights that while molasses is a sophisticated nutritional tool, it's a tool that demands precision and consistency, not just a splash of sweetness.
Okay, precision and consistency. That's a huge revelation. It's not just if molasses is in the feed, but critically, how much and what kind it is.
Exactly. The devil's in the details.
This leads us perfectly into what we're calling the cane molasses challenge, which addresses why standardization is king in this arena.
Right.
When you see molasses on a generic feed tag, for most of us, that's it, we move on. Big deal.
Right.
Right.
Just another ingredient.
Well, the bovine article persuasively argues that this single, seemingly innocuous word can hide a world of difference behind it.
A world of difference. Okay.
It discusses how some suppliers might play the field, switching between beet and cane molasses, or even using unspecified blends, often driven purely by daily market price fluctuations.
Buying whatever's cheapest that day.
Basically.
Yeah.
And this introduces such a huge and unpredictable variable into a calf's diet.
Massive variability.
But then the article highlights a company, Calmback Feeds, that takes a very different, almost defiant approach. They explicitly specify all natural blackstrap cane molasses.
Okay, specific type.
And not just the type, but with guaranteed minimum quality standards for total sugars and sugar density.
Guaranteed minimums, that's different.
It is. So the central question for us, and for you listening, is why does this specific focus on the type cane and these precise specifications truly matter? What's the real tangible impact here on the farm?
This is truly where the broader industry's lack of standardization becomes glaringly apparent, and where these seemingly minor details matter immensely for your calves' health and, frankly, your farm's profitability.
Okay, let's break it down.
Let's unpack the broader industry picture where molasses isn't standardized, as meticulously presented in the bovine article.
Right.
First, let's talk about what we've termed the protein content chaos.
Protein chaos. Okay.
Consider the typical differences. Generic beet molasses, for example, averages around 13.5% crude protein on a dry matter basis.
13.5. Got it.
In stark contrast, generic cane molasses averages significantly less, at about 6.7% crude protein.
Okay, big difference already.
Yeah.
Beet versus cane.
Huge difference. But here's the kicker, and this is critical for uncontrolled, commodity-sourced cane molasses. Its protein content can swing wildly.
How wild?
From as low as 2.2% to 9.3%.
Whoa. 2.2 to 9.3. That's more than a four-fold difference at the extreme.
Exactly. Think about that. That's a potential difference of over 7 percentage points in crude protein from batch to batch if you're not specifying and testing.
Right.
Imagine the implications for your calf's precise nutritional needs if your feed supplier isn't consistently locking down such a fundamental component of protein in their molasses source.
It throws the whole ration calculation off.
Completely. That's a massive, uncontrolled variable directly impacting the daily protein intake of your growing calves. For a calf growing rapidly, hitting specific protein targets is non-negotiable for muscle and tissue development. This kind of chaos introduces unpredictable growth patterns.
Okay, so protein is one big variable. What else?
Then there's what we've labeled the sugar profile roulette.
Sugar roulette. Doesn't sound good.
It isn't, not for consistent nutrition. While it's true that beet molasses typically boasts a higher sucrose content, which ferments differently, the bovine article clearly states that both beet and unstandardized cane molasses exhibit substantial batch-to-batch variation in total sugars.
Both can vary a lot.
Both can vary substantially. This isn't just a slight variation. We're talking about sugars that can fluctuate by over 25 percentage points in uncontrolled cane molasses.
25 percentage points.
Yes, from as low as 39.2% up to 67.3% on a dry matter basis.
That's enormous.
It is enormous. This inconsistency directly impacts the amount and type of readily fermentable energy available to the rumen microbes, which, as we discussed, is crucial for stimulating proper rumen development and VFA production.
Right, the engine fuel.
Exactly. This is precisely why Kalmbach's approach, with its guaranteed minimum sugar standards for their cane molasses, is so critical. It establishes a critical floor.
A baseline.
A baseline, yes. Ensuring that the foundational energy supply for rumen development is consistently met, batch after batch. It eliminates the guesswork and the lottery.
Okay, protein chaos, sugar roulette. What's next?
And finally, we arrive at what the article accurately describes as the DCAD disaster zone.
DCAD. Okay, dietary cation indifference. We hear about that for dry cows mostly.
We do, primarily for managing milk fever. However, its implications for developing calves are equally severe, maybe even more so, given their delicate, rapidly developing systems.
Why is it such a disaster zone with molasses?
Uncontrolled cane molasses, according to our deep dive into the bovine article, can be a real nightmare for DCAD. It can swing from strongly anionic, negative 76 MECO 100 DM to strongly cationic, plus 155 MECO 100 DM.
Minus 76 to plus 155.
Yes, that's a monumental swing, a difference of over 230 MECO 100 DM.
Unbelievable. What does that do to a calf?
Just consider the serious impact these drastic, unpredictable swings could have on your calves' developing rumens and their systemic acid-base balance. A shift to a highly cationic diet can induce metabolic alkalosis, disrupting the delicate pH balance crucial for optimal microbial function and nutrient absorption in the rumen.
Right.
Conversely, a highly anionic diet can create an acidic state, stressing the calf's metabolic system.
So it messes up their whole internal balance.
Fundamentally, feed suppliers who truly prioritize calf health must exert meticulous control over their specific molasses source to prevent such disruptions. It's truly a fundamental commitment to consistency for a company like Kalmbach to standardize on cane molasses that meets a strict, verifiable profile, rather than just buying molasses as a nameless commodity.
It sounds like buying molasses is like buying grain without knowing if it's corn or barley or something else entirely, and how much protein it has.
That's a great analogy. This raises an important question for any producer listening. Would you accept a 7-point swing in your corn silage protein?
Absolutely not.
Or a 200-point swing in its DCAD?
Never. We test for that.
Right. If your answer is an emphatic no for your mature cows, then why would you accept that potential from your calf starter's generic molasses ingredient? An ingredient that is foundational for your future herd.
Wow.
The consistency in all ingredients, especially one as metabolically active as molasses, is absolutely paramount for optimal calf development and long-term health.
That analogy about corn silage really drives it home. We'd never stand for that level of variability in our primary forage source because we see the immediate impact.
Exactly. We manage what we measure.
Right. So why are we accepting it in such a critical foundational feed ingredient for our young stock, the very future of our herd? It makes you think about the true cost beyond the initial purchase price of the feed.
A hidden costs.
It's clear that sourcing molasses from the cheapest bidder without rigorous standards introduces what the bovine article describes as a cascade of risks.
A cascade, that's a good word for it.
So, for you, the listener, let's really dig into the direct financial and health implications this has on your calves' performance and ultimately your farm's bottom line.
Yeah.
What are these specific risks and how do they actually show up?
Okay, the bovine article meticulously details these specific risks, and they are profound. They directly impact profitability and animal well-being. First, we have the energy roller coaster.
Energy roller coaster.
Okay, with the total sugar content in uncontrolled cane molasses potentially varying by over 25 percentage points, remember, from 39.2% to 67.3% on a dry matter basis, as our research indicates.
Right, the huge swing.
The direct consequence is that calves receive dramatically different energy supplies despite consuming the same amount of starter.
So same pounds of feed, different energy load day to day.
Exactly. Imagine trying to fuel a rapidly growing animal, one that needs consistent energy for both maintenance and growth when its primary energy source is unpredictably inconsistent.
That's like putting watered down gas in your truck someday.
Yeah, perfect analogy. One day they might get a high energy boost, the next a significantly lower one. This isn't just a minor fluctuation, it's a fundamental disruption to their growth curve.
And that means?
Uneven weights within a group, making management and breeding targets harder to hit. You might see calves stalling, not hitting their expected growth milestones, or even experiencing periods of mild energy deficit that compromise their immune function.
Makes them more vulnerable.
Absolutely. Next up is mineral mayhem.
Mineral mayhem sounds dramatic.
It can be. The article highlights potassium as a prime example, a key electrolyte. Levels in uncontrolled cane molasses can range dramatically from 2.77% to 7.7% on a DM basis.
2.7 to 7.7% potassium, that's almost a threefold difference.
Huge variation. And this has a double impact, both immediate and long-term. Firstly, such wild swings in potassium risk osmotic diarrhea.
Osmotic diarrhea. Explain that again.
It basically means the calf's digestive tract is pulling excess water into the gut because of an imbalance in solutes, like high potassium. This leads to loose, watery stools.
So scours, essentially.
A specific type of scours, yes. And this isn't just about a messy pen. It means the calf is losing crucial fluids and electrolytes, rapidly becoming dehydrated. It's a severe setback for their delicate systems.
It requires treatment, time, money.
Exactly. Often requiring immediate, costly intervention, pulling them away from their feed and hindering their growth. Secondly, these mineral imbalances can disrupt calcium and magnesium metabolism.
Critical minerals for growth.
Crucial for bone development, muscle function, and overall physiological processes in young, rapidly growing animals. Undermining these processes early can have lasting consequences on structural integrity and future productivity.
Wow. Okay, energy roller coaster, mineral mayhem. What's the third risk?
And then the insidious DCAD disruption.
Back to DCAD.
Back to DCAD. We touched on this earlier, but it's worth reiterating the gravity. When DCAD values fluctuate unpredictably due to variable, uncontrolled cane molasses, both rumen buffering capacity and systemic acid-base balance are compromised.
Right, messes with the internal balance.
And this effectively sets the stage for subclinical acidosis.
Subclinical, meaning you don't always see it.
Exactly. Unlike acute dramatic acidosis that you might immediately recognize, subclinical acidosis is a silent underlying issue. It's not overtly obvious, but it saps growth and efficiency.
How does it do that?
The calf is constantly fighting an internal metabolic battle, diverting precious energy and resources away from growth and immune function. They just don't thrive like they should.
And it makes them more susceptible to other things.
Precisely. More susceptible to other diseases like respiratory issues or further digestive upsets down the line. It's a hidden drain on their potential. And the compounding problem, as the bovine article powerfully emphasizes, is that these variables often shift simultaneously in poorly sourced molasses.
Oh, great. So it's not just one thing at a time.
Rarely. It's often a perfect storm of nutritional inconsistency, protein off, sugars way up or down, potassium through the roof, DCAD all over the place, creating a constantly moving target for your calf's metabolism. So, to connect back to your experience, is it any wonder your calves sometimes stall in growth, or battle persistent digestive issues, or just seem to lack that uniform vigor despite what you believe is consistent management? If their foundational starter relies on such a fluctuating ingredient.
It really makes you wonder, doesn't it?
Yeah,
You think you're doing everything right.
But there's this hidden variable. The stark reality, as we've clearly seen in our deep dive into the bovine article, is that every time you accept a generic molasses listing on your feed tag without knowing the source, the specs, and the quality control, you're essentially buying a nutritional lottery ticket, and the odds, frankly, aren't in your calf's favor.
A nutritional lottery ticket. Ouch.
What's truly fascinating here is how something seemingly minor, one word on a tag, can have such widespread and detrimental effects, eroding both animal health and farm profitability.
That phrase, nutritional lottery ticket, truly sticks with you, doesn't it? Because who wants to gamble with their calves' futures, especially when those futures represent the next generation of your herd?
Nobody, not intentionally anyway.
Right, so let's pivot from identifying this critical problem to exploring a potential solution, or at least a shining example of a company that doesn't approach molasses with what the article calls casual disregard.
Moving towards a fix. Good.
The bovine article highlights Kalmbach feeds and their specific approach. An explicit specification of all natural blackstrap cane molasses.
Specificity again.
With guaranteed minimum quality standards for sugar content and density, all backed by an unwavering commitment to fixed formulations.
Fixed formulations, that's key too. Means they don't swap ingredients based on price.
Exactly. This sounds like a stark contrast to the cheapest bidder approach we just dissected. How does this commitment actually manifest, and what are the tangible results for producers?
It truly is a different paradigm, moving from a commodity mindset to one of precision and consistency. And the commitment to quality that Kalmbach Feeds exemplifies is not just a philosophy. It has a tangible physical manifestation.
How so?
In their significant investment in Veritas AgroLabs, which is their in-house full-service laboratory.
Your own lab.
Their own lab. This isn't just a marketing ploy. It's a multi-million-dollar investment that underpins their quality assurance program. Think of it. They own the lab, they control the testing, they set the standards.
That gives them a lot of control.
Complete control. The lab conducts rigorous testing on incoming ingredients, employing sophisticated methods like NIR spectroscopy and detailed mineral analysis.
NIR, near-infrared.
Yes, near-infrared reflectance spectroscopy. It allows for rapid, accurate analysis of the chemical composition of ingredients, sugars, protein, moisture, minerals, by measuring how light interacts with them. It ensures consistency before anything even enters the mixer.
So they test before making the feed.
Absolutely. Incoming quality control is paramount. The purpose of all this intensive testing is precisely what we've been discussing.
Right.
It ensures that the cane molasses Kalmbach uses consistently meets those predefined standards for sugar content, mineral profile, and moisture, batch after batch.
Not just a one-off check.
No, it's an ongoing active verification process for every load. When a company invests millions in quality control infrastructure like Veritas AgriLabs, they are not doing it for kicks or simply because it's a nice thing to do.
They're doing it because it works.
They are doing it because they have unequivocally proven the performance difference that ingredient consistency built on specified cane molasses delivers to their customers' calves. It's an investment made because it yields results. Period.
Okay, so they invest heavily in QC. What are the results? What does the article say producers actually see?
And the results, as stated clearly in the bovine article, genuinely speak for themselves. Field data from operations utilizing starters with quality-controlled molasses consistently show a lower incidence of scours.
Less scours. That's huge. Saves time, money, stress.
Directly translates into healthier calves, reduced treatment costs, and less labor for the producer. Beyond that, there are improved weaning weights.
Bigger calves at weaning.
More robust, efficient growth during that critical developmental phase. And crucially, there's greater consistency in daily starter intake.
Steady intake. That makes sense.
Which means more predictable growth curves and less variability in your calf program, making overall management simpler and more effective. When calves eat consistently, they grow consistently.
Predictability, that's worth a lot.
It really is. To put this into economic terms every producer understands, consider the scenario laid out in the article. If you're spending, say, $60,000 annually on calf starter and currently using a product with variably sourced, unspecified molasses.
Okay.
The bovine article makes it clear that even a mere 5%, 6% performance improvement from switching to a quality-controlled alternative could translate into significant savings.
5 to 6%. Doesn't sound like much, but
let's break that down. This might mean $3,600 alone in treatable scours costs that you avoid.
$3,600 just on scours. Plus, you're looking at potentially thousands more in value gained from avoiding delayed weaning if your calves are consistently hitting their growth targets and can be weaned earlier and more uniformly.
Right. Days on milk saved.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This isn't theoretical. This is cash flowing out of your operation due to hidden inefficiencies if you're not paying attention to ingredient quality.
Wow.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, it's about optimizing profitability through precision nutrition, turning what might seem like a small detail into a substantial financial return.
It's incredible how that investment in quality control, in understanding the minutia of an ingredient like molasses, translates directly into tangible benefits and cost savings for the producer. It really moves the conversation beyond just the initial price per bag.
It has to. You have to look at the total value proposition.
But the bovine article goes even further, suggesting that the benefits of consistent high-quality cane molasses extend beyond just basic nutrition. It introduces the concept of synergy.
Synergy, making other things work better.
Exactly. Explaining how consistent molasses creates a perfect foundation for other nutritional technologies to thrive. This sounds like an amplifier for other investments you might be making, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Tell us more about this synergistic power.
Absolutely. The synergistic power is a critical aspect, often overlooked, that really elevates the value of consistent molasses. It's not just what the molasses does, but what it enables.
Okay, like what?
The bovine article provides a concrete example with probiotic technologies, specifically mentioning Kalmbach's Lifeguard blend.
Probiotics. Lots of folks use those.
Very common and potentially very valuable. Probiotics, while incredibly useful for gut health, are living organisms, beneficial bacteria and yeasts that require a reliable substrate to colonize effectively within the calf developing rumen.
They need the right environment to set up shop.
Precisely. Think of it like this. You're trying to cultivate a beneficial garden in the rumen, a microbiome that supports digestion and immunity. If the soil, which is the feed environment, is constantly changing, sometimes too much water, sometimes not enough, wildly fluctuating nutrients from inconsistent molasses that garden those expensive probiotic cultures are going to struggle.
They can't establish themselves properly.
They struggle to establish themselves and perform optimally. This is precisely where quality-controlled cane molasses steps in. It serves as an ideal prebiotic foundation.
Prebiotic, meaning food for the probiotic.
Exactly. It means it provides a consistent, predictable, and highly suitable food source for these beneficial bacteria, thereby enhancing the efficacy of these advanced gut health technologies.
So the good molasses helps the good bugs work better.
Significantly better. In fact, studies suggest that high-quality, consistent molasses can enhance the effectiveness of probiotics by a significant 15 to 20%.
15 to 20% boost, just from consistent molasses.
Yes. So your investment in these sophisticated probiotic blends truly pays off when they have the stable, consistent nutritional foundation they need to flourish and exert their benefits.
And those benefits are
measurable improvements in immune function and nutrient conversion ratios during that critical 0-12-week growth window. Better gut health, better nutrient uptake.
Okay. So what happens with variable molasses?
In stark contrast, when the molasses source is variable, fluctuating in sugars, minerals, or DCAD, those expensive probiotic technologies struggle to establish consistent populations.
They just can't get a foothold.
Exactly. They can't find a stable environment to colonize effectively, which directly diminishes their effectiveness and, quite simply, wastes your investment.
So you're paying for probiotics, but they aren't doing their job properly because the foundation isn't right.
Precisely. The article uses a great analogy. You wouldn't build a high-performance engine and then fill it with contaminated fuel.
Right. Makes no sense.
So why invest in premium nutritional technologies like probiotics or specialized enzyme blends only to undermine them with inconsistent base ingredients of unknown origin or specification?
It really undercuts your whole strategy.
It does. This raises an important question for every producer. Are you truly getting the full return on investment from all your nutritional supplements and advanced technologies if your base ingredients are a nutritional wildcard? The synergy between a stable foundation and advanced technologies is paramount.
That's a powerful analogy, the high-performance engine. It really makes you think about how all the pieces need to work together and how neglecting one foundational piece can compromise all your other strategic investments.
It's systems thinking applied to nutrition.
So the evidence we've explored from the Bovine article is overwhelming. Generic molasses listings on feed tags simply don't cut it anymore.
Not if you're aiming for optimal performance.
It's time to demand the transparency and quality assurance your calves truly deserve, because their foundation is your herd's future. This isn't about blaming anyone. It's about empowering you, the listener, to make informed, proactive decisions that directly impact your profitability and animal well-being.
Knowledge is power, right?
Absolutely. Let's talk about the practical, actionable steps the Bovine article lays out for your action plan. What should producers be doing differently starting today?
Okay, the Bovine article provides a clear, actionable strategy. It empowers you to take control. First, and most crucially, direct questions for your feed representative.
Time to put them on the spot. Politely, of course.
Exactly. You need to be equipped to ask precise questions that cut through the marketing speak and get to the core of ingredient quality. Specifically, inquire, what type of molasses, cane, beet, or a blend is actually in your calf starters?
Step 1. Identify the type.
Step 2. Press for specifics beyond a generic name. What specific quality control measures and guaranteed specifications, such as minimum sugar content, sugar density, and moisture, are in place for that specific molasses type?
Get the numbers, the guarantees.
Get the guarantees. This moves beyond vague assurances to concrete, measurable standards that impact performance. Then follow up by asking, how do you test for batch-to-batch consistency of your chosen molasses?
What's the process? How often?
Exactly. You need to know their process for verification, not just their claim. And finally, challenge them to provide data showing the consistency of your molasses specifications over time.
Show me the data.
Show me the data. This provides empirical, verifiable evidence of their commitment to quality control and ingredient integrity. Don't settle for it's consistent. Ask to see the proof.
Okay, ask tough questions, get specifics, demand data. What's next?
Your second action step is to compare responses from different suppliers.
See how they stack up.
Exactly. The article notes a key distinction that will quickly become apparent. Suppliers with robust quality assurance programs will have detailed answers ready for these questions. They'll be transparent, maybe even eager to share their commitment, potentially providing lab analysis reports or internal specifications.
They'll have nothing to hide.
Right. In stark contrast, others may offer vague reassurances, generic statements about quality control, or deflect the questions entirely. That usually indicates a significant lack of stringent control over their ingredient sourcing and quality.
Red flag.
Big red flags. This comparison is critical for making an informed choice, differentiating between suppliers who truly invest in consistency and those who treat molasses as just another cheap commodity.
Okay, compare the answers. Then what?
And the third, equally important step is to calculate the true cost.
Not just the price per bag.
Far beyond the price per bag, you need to factor in all the hidden costs that generic, inconsistent molasses can introduce into your operation.
Like we talked about earlier.
Exactly. This includes quantifiable treatment costs for digestive issues like scours, vet bills, medication. Then there's the invaluable labor associated with treating sick calves, which diverts your skilled staff and your own time away from other critical management tasks.
Time you don't have.
Time you definitely don't have. Consider the immense value of additional weaning weight that consistent nutrition provides. Heavier, healthier calves at weaning are proven to perform better throughout their lives.
Sets them up for success.
And finally, think about the crucial long-term impact on age at first calving and enhanced lifetime milk production, which are profoundly influenced by early calf health and consistent growth. It all starts here.
It really does.
The Bovine article powerfully reinforces this by stating, "You're not just feeding calves, you're building the foundation for your herd's future. That foundation deserves better than mystery ingredients and wishful thinking."
Wishful thinking doesn't pay the bills.
It certainly doesn't. What's truly fascinating here is how a seemingly small detail in an ingredient list can have such a profound ripple effect on your entire operation's efficiency, health outcomes, and ultimate profitability. It's leverage.
That really brings it all together, doesn't it? The humble ingredient listed simply as molasses on your calf starter tag truly represents either a significant risk or a valuable opportunity.
A fork in the road.
It really is. Our deep dive into the Bovine article has laid out the evidence clearly. Inconsistent molasses quality, even within a single type like cane, if not properly managed, fundamentally undermines calf performance.
Through energy swings, mineral issues, DCAD chaos.
Exactly. Through variable energy delivery, through crucial mineral imbalances, and, most critically, through disrupted rumen development and suppressed intake. Conversely, starters that are formulated with rigorously controlled, specified cane molasses, like that championed by Kalmbach,
They deliver predictable results.
deliver much more predictable and, quite frankly, superior results for your calves. The dairy industry has come too far, hasn't it? In terms of genetics, management practices, advanced technologies,
Miles ahead of where we were.
to simply accept substandard or undefined ingredients in one of those critical feeds we provide the foundation for our future herd. This is about precision in every aspect of modern dairy management.
It has to be.
So the question isn't whether you can afford quality-assured calf nutrition built on consistently specified ingredients. The real provocative question, the one we want you to mull over, is, can you afford to keep gambling with the very foundation of your herd's future by accepting just molasses at face value?
So what does all this mean for you, the listener, and your operation, distilled into immediately actionable insights? What should you take away right now? The Bovine article leaves us with some incredibly powerful takeaways that can drive real change on your farm.
Let's hear them, the key takeaways.
First, you absolutely must demand molasses specifications beyond the tag. Generic molasses listings conceal massive detrimental variability. Remember, over 25 percentage point sugar variation,
A huge swing.
which directly impacts feed efficiency and proper rumen development. The article highlights that operations specifying a guaranteed minimum sugar content, like 37% total sugars as invert, and employing rigorous testing, achieve significantly greater consistency.
How much more consistent?
We're talking up to 12% greater consistency in daily dry matter intake. That directly translates to more predictable, uniform growth curves and hitting those critical earlier breeding targets that are so vital for future profitability.
12% more consistent intake. That's significant.
Very significant. Second, you need to proactively calculate the hidden scours tax on your operation.
The scours tax.
Okay. Our deep dive revealed that uncontrolled molasses quality is a major contributor to an 18% higher scours incidence through osmotic disruption and mineral imbalances.
18% higher.
For a typical 500 calf operation, the bovine article quantifies this, representing approximately $3,600 in additional veterinary costs, labor, and even mortality losses annually due to this issue alone.
$3,600 walking out the door.
Exactly. That's not just a theoretical number, that's hard cash that flows directly to your bottom line when sourcing and ingredient quality are meticulously controlled. It's a direct, measurable return on investment you can achieve by making smarter choices.
Okay. Demand specs, calculate the scours tax. What's third?
Third, learn to leverage molasses quality for probiotic synergy.
Making your other additives work better.
Precisely. Consistent, high-quality canned molasses with fixed sugar and mineral profiles acts as an ideal prebiotic substrate. It provides consistent, optimal environment that enhances the efficacy of expensive gut health technologies like probiotics by a significant 15-20%.
Boost your probiotics by 15-20%.
This powerful synergy delivers measurable improvements in immune function, reducing disease susceptibility, and boosting nutrient conversion ratios during the critical 0-12 week growth window. It lays down a foundation for robust health for the entire lifetime of that animal.
Get more bang for your buck from supplements.
You got it. Fourth, and this is a call to direct action, challenge your feed representatives with specific questions.
Circle back to those tough questions.
Yes. As we detailed, you need to ask for guaranteed minimum sugar content, precise DCAD values, specific potassium levels, and clear, transparent batch-to-batch testing protocols. The distinction is absolutely clear. Companies with robust QA programs will provide detailed answers. Those relying on commodity sourcing will likely offer vague reassurances.
The answers tell the story.
They really do. This critical distinction directly correlates with the consistency and performance you will observe in your calves.
Okay. And the final takeaway.
Finally, always connect weaning weight gains to lifetime productivity. That 6% improvement in weaning weights, consistently achievable through quality molasses programs, isn't just about a bigger calf at weaning.
It's about the long game.
It's absolutely about the long game. It translates directly to crucial long-term benefits. Earlier breeding, a reduced age at first calving, and ultimately significantly enhanced lifetime milk production.
More milk over her lifetime.
Exactly. When you consider that replacement heifer costs alone often exceed $2,000 per head, optimizing early nutrition through ingredient quality control is, without a doubt, one of the highest ROI investments you can make in your genetic program.
Investing early pays off big time later.
Huge dividends. It's about building future assets for your dairy, not just feeding current needs. So as you move forward, we urge you to critically consider all the ingredients in your feeds because the long-term impact on your herd's profitability and health is often found in the seemingly small details you might least expect. What does this all mean? It means paying attention pays off.
That's a wrap on today's deep dive into molasses quality and its massive impact on calf performance. The evidence is clear. Accepting generic molasses listings without demanding specifications is essentially gambling with your replacement herd's future. Here's your action item. Call your feed representative this week and ask the specific questions we discussed. What type of molasses are they using? What are their guaranteed minimum specifications? How do they test for consistency? Companies with robust quality control will have detailed answers ready. Those without will give you vague reassurances, and that tells you everything you need to know. Remember, you're not just feeding calves. You're building the foundation for your herd's future productivity and profitability. That foundation deserves better than mystery ingredients and wishful thinking. Thanks for tuning in to the Bovine Podcast. If this episode opened your eyes to something you hadn't considered before, share it with a fellow dairy farmer who needs to hear this message. You can find the full article with all the research citations at thebovine.com. Until next time, keep challenging the status quo and demanding the transparency your operation deserves. This is the Bovine, where we tell the truth the industry needs to hear.